Hey everyone, this is meteorologist Brad Benwich with your Ski Southeast update for this week. I wish I had better news for you. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not looking like a good week at all. Weather-wise, snowmaking, natural snow. It's starting to look a lot like last February. Thank goodness the first part of the winter wasn't as bad as this part of February is right now. But I'm keeping my eyes on that beginning of March because honestly, that's the Ski Southeast Summit. We're hoping to turn things around. So we'll get to the good news, maybe long range here in a minute, but let's focus on the bad news first, which seems like the second week in a row I've had to do this. We are getting blowtorched right now. We've got southwest flow. It's all rain, super warm, record temperatures here again in the eastern half of the country. The blowtorch is in full effect again. We saw this a lot last winter, and now we're going to see about 5 to 6 days of this. But there are some signs, maybe towards next week, we're going to see this pattern change a little bit. And I actually think even up in the Virginias, maybe Maryland, we might get a brief shot of some cold air, maybe briefly going into the weekend, but I'm not really comfortable saying that that's going to be much of anything. I'll look at the futurecast snowfall, and you can see pretty much nothing going on there. So we look at the forecast this week. I wish it was better. I honestly do, but this is not a great week by any stretch of the imagination. No natural snowmaking, no man-made snowmaking. There's just nothing that really screams, hey, there's even a glimmer of hope. But this is what I'm going to pin my stuff on here. So here's our blowtorch. You can see the ridge. This is that stupid death ridge that affected us most of last winter, sitting over the southeast. And you can see it's kind of sitting there through the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, but then next week, notice how things kind of flatten out a little bit. This is an encouraging sign. The fact that we're getting the ridge to kind of get suppressed just a little bit and go down into the Gulf of Mexico. And if you look carefully, by next week, this is next Tuesday, there are hints of a little bit of troughiness. At the very least, this is northwest flow, so this looks optimistic for especially the higher elevations. It's probably not super cold, but at least the potential that the elevations are going to help us out. We're going to get some natural northwest flow snow and maybe cold enough to make snow. I certainly think Snowshoe, Winter Place, Wisp, all the resorts in West Virginia and Virginia might luck out. And even North Carolina, this might be pretty good. And as we go towards the end of next week, this is going to be heading towards the summit weekend. You can see that trough is a little more pronounced. It's not a sharp trough. It's not super cold, but that, at least for this time of year, it would be plausible to get some natural snow out of that and maybe even cold enough temperatures to make a little bit of snow. Let's look at temperatures long range. Here's the blowtorch this week. I mean, that's just crazy warm. Here comes that Arctic front on Thursday, and this is what I'm talking about this weekend. It looked like it tried to wedge down there, but next week, watch what happens. We'll go through Sunday, and then we go into early next week. There's some cold making it down into the higher elevations, but it's really towards the tail end here. This is next Wednesday. That is a much more promising setup. So that's right at the end of the month. This is the 28th going into the 1st, and I'll put this all the way out to the 1st. And you can see at least the hint that it's going to trend colder here. That's what I mean up in here in the Virginias, West Virginia. North Carolina might be a little closer temperature, but either way, there are signs that we're going to see a pattern change. If you read my blog at wxbrad.com, I put a blog about why we shouldn't write winter off, and part of the reason is there are significant signs that we're going to see a pretty big pattern shift at some point in early March. The polar vortex is weakening and splitting right now, which usually means about a week or two down the road we get cold and snow on the East Coast. Now, it doesn't always work out that way. The thing about forecasting the cold, somebody's going to get it. It's always kind of difficult to say where, but the trend is that we're going to see some colder air at the very least. You just can't get this blowtorch to last forever. It didn't last year. Pattern did change a little bit in March, even though we got blowtorched in most of February. I think the same thing's going to happen this year. The NAO is going negative. The AO is going negative pretty strongly. All the ensembles are looking at that colder pattern at some point in March. Now, whether it's a week or two or whether it's just moderately cold, still too early to know. But here's the good news. It just looks like we are going to see a change, that this ridge isn't going to camp out over us through the rest of the winter. So keep your fingers crossed. Sorry about this week. It's just nothing we can do about it. But for all the Ski Southeast summiters going up to Snowshoe, we're going to get that pattern change in here, hopefully. I am really optimistic that we're going to see that happen by the next weekend, hopefully. Fingers crossed. As always, think snow. We still got some time left in this season, and I want to get some more runs in. So think snow, everybody. Have a great day.